I don't know who Maxi Hughes was signed to before now, but he's just inked a multi-fight promotional deal with Eddie Hearn Matchroom after his impressive win on the weekend over Jovanni Straffon. Now, Straffon last time out, I'm sure most of you know, knocked out James Tennyson in 1 round. Tennyson has a reputation and certainly a record which suggests that he's a puncher. So going up against Maxi Hughes this time around, Straffon, who knocked out Tennyson in 1 round, surely would have been expected by most to be the danger man here. And then Maxi Hughes would have had to box clever, move around, and avoid getting hurt and ultimately stopped. Well, it was an interesting fight because, yes, Maxi Hughes was definitely the better boxer here. He boxed Straffon's head off, really. But he was also the power man in there. Despite the fact he's only got 5 KOs and 24 wins, he caught Straffon, I forget which round it was, I want to say around the halfway mark, with a good couple clean shots. And Straffon's legs were all over the place. I mean, he was like Fred Astaire on ice. Literally crazy legs. So Maxi Hughes had him in all types of trouble. Didn't manage to get him out of there. Straffon, tough as old boots. And you often see this with Mexican fighters. The ones who actually have ambition, when they get hurt, they don't panic. I mean, I remember when Canelo, way back in the days, got hurt by Miguel Cotto's brother on a Mayweather undercard. I forget which, it might have been Mayweather Mosley. And Canelo, even though he was young, I think he was still a teenager at the time, he was cool as a cucumber. Despite the fact that he got hurt, his legs went, and this much more experienced fighter was trying to take his head off. Canelo was so calm under pressure. And up until that point in Canelo's career, in fact, I think that was the first time I'd watched him, but certainly up until that point in the fight, I wasn't particularly impressed with Canelo. He didn't have the speed then that he has now. He didn't have the combination punching ability then that he has now. He had a certain amount of ability, but nothing that jumped out at you at that stage, at least not in that fight. But the one thing which did stick out to me was how calm Canelo was under pressure for such a young man. There was no panic at all because they raised them tough in Mexico in those gyms. And Straffon, I'm sure, would have been hurt like that on many occasions, both in fights and in the gym. And he would have had opponents come at him mercilessly looking to finish him off. So he knows what to do in those kind of situations. He knows how to stay calm. And again, to his credit, Straffon did stay calm. He weathered that very, very choppy storm. And Maxi Hughes was unable to get him out of there. But Hughes boxed really, really well. He moved, but he wasn't running. You know, he wasn't doing what Granados did against Conor Benn. He was moving just enough to offset what Straffon was doing by way of throwing punches and the moves he was making. He was basically staying in the pocket, but moving in the pocket, you know? So, like a mobile pocket. So he wasn't moving extremely far away from Straffon when he'd get a couple shots off. He was staying within a certain range where he could, take a step back, allow Straffon's punches to whiz by, and then step back in again and counter. You see, he was always close enough to be able to engage with the guy. So, good performance by Maxi Hughes. He's lost several fights at domestic level. He's 24-5 with 2 draws. When I say domestic level, he lost twice in British title fights. I'm looking at his record here. He lost to Sam Bowen. That was an 8th round TKO loss back in 2018. He lost to Liam Walsh. That wasn't a British title fight though. That was a vacant WBO European title fight in 2019. The other British title fight he lost was back in 2017 to Martin Ward. Lost that on points over 12. Also lost to Ward. Okay, so he's lost to Ward twice. Lost to him in 2015 as well, where he, it says here, retired at the end of the 5th round with a badly damaged nose. Oh, he's fought Ward a bunch of times. I didn't realize this. Drew with Ward prior to that in 2014, over 10. And lost to Scotty Carter. So these are all domestic level names. Lost to Scotty Carter in 2013. Had a draw with Ronnie Clark in 2012. So, again, this is a guy who's lost and drawn at domestic level. We don't know how good Straffon is, to be fair. You know, is Straffon really a world level fighter? The guy's 24-4 with 1 draw, 17 KOs. He was an unknown going into the Tennyson fight, really. Hadn't fought anybody of note as far as I'm aware. So maybe it was a case of him being flattered by that Tennyson win rather than him actually being that good. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But certainly, he's tough. They tend to bring them up in a spit and sawdust type of environment in Mexico in those gyms. So yeah, Straffon did a great job outboxing him out of the southpaw stance, hurt him, kept him under control, and it was really a very comfortable victory. I don't think Hughes lost many rounds in there. How many rounds did you give Straffon? Because to me, it was pretty much a shutout. And he was comfortable right to the end. Like, I was watching it with my girlfriend and she was like, oh God, this Mexican guy is going to maybe charge late at the end and manage to get him. I hope he makes it through. And I was like, no. I don't see it. Hughes, to me, seems very comfortable. It didn't look like his stamina was going. And he was making Straffon miss by such a wide margin all the time. He was just a step ahead, you know? Straffon just didn't have anything in his arsenal by way of creativity to be able to get any big shots on. Hughes had him timed. He had the range down. He had the footwork, everything. He was just in complete control. So yeah, very good performance. And congratulations to him for getting this multi-fight deal, because again, a guy like this who's lost several times at domestic level, he probably never imagined he would get an opportunity to sign a multi-fight deal with a Matchroom, make perhaps life-changing sums of money. But Eddie Hearn is definitely going to match him now off the back of that victory over Straffon. He's going to match him in fights where he's going to get paid a lot more than he's ever been paid before, I'm sure. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below about his performance against Straffon and where he goes from here. And by the way, his real name, his birth name is Daniel Hughes rather than Maxi Hughes. Maxi being short for Maximus, which is his alias. I guess he uses that as his ring name. I actually quite miss boxers having ring names. I know there's still a few like Kid Galahad and whatever, but way back in the days, in the old days, there was a lot more fight. Because boxing was seen as a lot more seedy than it is today, there were many fighters who didn't like everybody to know, you know, everybody in their personal life to know that they were a professional boxer. So they go under ring names, right? Pseudonyms. And some of them were quite... There's a famous scene, I say famous, to people from my generation, we know about it, from, I think it was one of the Naked Gun movies. And what's the guy called? Nielsen? Is it Leslie Nielsen? The comedy actor that was in the Naked Gun movies. And there's a scene where it's him, O.J. Simpson, and a couple of the other guys, and they're talking about boxing. I guess there's a suspect they're looking for who is a boxer. And they're going through all these names because people used to name themselves, in America especially, boxers used to name themselves after a town like Kid Minneapolis. You know, stuff like that. And there's a hilarious scene, you can see it on YouTube, where they use all these different names from, you know, cities and towns in America, and they incorporate into boxers' names. Difficult for me to describe. Just go on YouTube and look up Naked Gun boxer or boxing, and you'll find it. But yeah, back in the days, they used to use a lot more ring names. Another one off the top of my head was Crawford Ashley, who was a British light heavyweight back in the days. I think, didn't he fight Michael Nunn? I swear he fought Michael Nunn and got stopped. But Crawford Ashley's real name was Paul Crawford. But he decided, I guess Crawford Ashley sounded better, or maybe he didn't want to let his mom know he was boxing. I don't know. I think Crawford Ashley also used to spar with Peter Fury back in the days. I remember Peter Fury talking about that. So yeah, Maxi Hughes' real name's actually Daniel Hughes. Maxi, short for Maximus. I guess he's a fan of the Gladiator movies. Gladiator movie, excuse me. The one directed by Ridley Scott, which came out in, what was it, the year 2000? For me, that's Ridley Scott's best film. Alien, actually, no, it's not, tell a lie. Alien is Ridley Scott's best film, for me. Alien, Gladiator, Blade Runner, you know, there's a few others here and there. But yeah, Gladiator, for me, the best performance, other than Joaquin Phoenix, was actually Oliver Reed, not Russell Crowe. Yeah, Oliver Reed's performance, even though he wasn't in it much, as what's his name in Gladiator? I forget his name. My gosh, Proximo. It's Proximo, isn't it? Yeah. For me, Oliver Reed. It's a shame he died during the filming of that movie. But Oliver Reed as Proximo was tremendous in that, and Maximus was also, and of course, Joaquin Phoenix was. If I had to pick one performance out of that film that was the best performance, I would say it was Joaquin Phoenix, and then after that, I would say Oliver Reed. Anyway, look at me getting sidetracked with films. Let me know how you feel about Maxi Hughes' performance against Jovanni Straffon.